Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Life Show, Draft Day Edition. I'm your host, Ian Hartitz. It's a great day to be great, and it is a great day to freaking draft a live fantasy football team. And by live, I mean we're recording this so we don't get sniped, but we're drafting. It's a great day to be great. And joining me on this lovely Wednesday, I think, evening, Dwain, The Rock McFarland. Dwain, we're drafting, baby. Our first one of the year. Let's do it, man.
We're drafting, yeah. RealTime Sports, $300 draft. So super excited to be partnering with them. Ian, we've got $500,000 to first place. So there's a tournament at the end, but it's $1,000 if we win the league. It pays first, second, and third. This is a PPR league. It's 0.05 points for passing yards. So a little bit of a boost there. Touchdowns are still 4 points, but you've got to start one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, and you get two flexes. So two running backs, two wide receivers, two flex. So a lot of flexibility here in this kind of format. I really enjoy these. We do have to take a kicker and a defense, Ian. I'm sorry, you'll have to take that up personally, with RealTime Sports. But yeah, I'm excited to get this one in, man.
Appreciate the fine folks at RealTime Sports. Very fun, fantasy platform that we are thrilled to be drafting on. So invite you guys to check that out if you have not already. Dwayne and I will be picking out the 9-hole on the same team. I know we like doing our DraftKings streams on Fridays, going up against each other. But, today, Dwayne, we are teammates and we are going to make it work. So again, really fun time. Just want to be able to go through this, explain to you guys our strategy throughout, what we're thinking. And for those of us, watching on YouTube, welcome. Appreciate having you guys. But we also have the screen share going on with the draft and Dwayne with their handy dandy cheat sheet. And while we don't have, this actual Excel doc to give everyone, we do have free cheat sheets over at fantasylife.com. Actually, I don't think they're free. If you have our Fantasy Life Plus, then they become, part of that package. So excuse me on that. But again, very, tiered out ranking set. That, again, is your kind of one-stop shop for all things, in your fantasy draft. So again, 13 seconds left till we officially get going. Dwayne, we're picking out of the 9-hole here. Seems likely we'll take one of the big three running backs or top 5 wide receivers if they fall. However, I can already imagine us having a little bit of a conversation between A.J. Brown and maybe Garrett Wilson if we happen to get there.
Yeah, for sure. Look, anytime you have to start you have two flex, right? And you have to start two wide receivers. We're in a full PPR league. I'm definitely leaning, towards, getting after some of the wide receivers early. But, we've kind of looked a little bit, at what some of the potential values might be. We don't know exactly. We've looked at ADP. We've looked at how this queue looks. So we're not for sure, though, like how it's going to play out. How much are people going to follow this queue? If they really follow it, there's some value later at wide receiver. But it's our first one. So I hate to like try to get cute and then, the receivers don't fall the way we want. So I will say, like, I typically treat this like a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, right? That's how I try to think about this one.
Hey, Dwayne, can you turn off the sound on your end? I believe it is off on my end.
Oh, okay. Where's the off button on the sound?
You see the on the player's screen right above it. You got to click sound down several times, and then eventually it'll show a little mute button. So hopefully no one else was hearing that. But if so, our sincerest apologies. We will
cool. Okay.
literally
I got it muted
and get better. So
should
sweet. Off the board, first 3 picks, 3 running backs, already a little bit of a surprise. Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, and Bijan Robinson. But Dwayne, given, again, the CeeDee Lamb contract situation, this Jamar Chase contract situation, Tyreek Hill dealing with a hand injury, Justin Jefferson, dealing with Sam Darnold. I mean, I was, trying to write up my favorite draft picks in every round article. And honestly, like, the more I do look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's like, man, if he does stay healthy, bro, I don't see a scenario where he really busts.
Yeah. I mean, look, we've got CeeDee Lamb, like you said, holding out. And even if he comes back, like, are we at a little bit of a risk for an injury? We've got Jamar Chase holding in. Did you hear it again? Because I've got it muted.
I heard it again.
Hang on.
I'll work on it. Oh, I see it. Okay.
You got it?
Chat. I think we're good now.
Okay, cool. If we hear it again, then like I'll try to figure it out. But yeah, to your point, like one of the safer picks, Amon-Ra. I'm not that worried about the Tyreek Hill thing. Like I saw that he's wearing the wrist brace, but like in this draft, Lamb goes ahead of Hill. But yeah, the 3 running backs off the board. I will say the way this queue works, there it goes again. This is going to be so funny.
Okay, no, I'm good now on it, Dwayne. You got to click the one on top next to the chat. That's the other part that I was doing it. There's
All
2
right.
volume buttons. Electric starting the show.
See it. I got it. All right. Well, we're learning. We're learning.
Yeah.
Hey, we're learning. It's we haven't drafted live, recorded a draft before on
This is a true
RealTime
drafting
Sports.
experience when you try to figure out how to get these annoying ass sounds to go, on mute. This is something that everyone has to deal with as you're going, with all due respect to, all the fantasy providers out there with your bells and whistles. But Dwayne, 2 picks away from us. Our one true sun god is off the board. Jamar Chase, the next best guy up. But again, look, I would just expect Chase and Jefferson to go right here.
Yeah. I've got him in our queue. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I mean, I would love for someone to be afraid, of what's going to happen with Jamar Chase. I don't, obviously I've not been super high on Justin Jefferson, but I'm not out on him when he reaches you down here at this end of the draft. Where I've had more of an issue with Justin Jefferson is when you're having to take him, in the top 4 or 5 picks. Mm-hmm. Then I feel like, the trade-offs, I'm like, I mean, it'd be real easy if we didn't have the holdout, from Lamb and we didn't have the hold in, from Chase.
There goes Justin Jefferson at the 107. Yeah, I was on a, sports junkies radio call this morning because the entire, area of Washington, D.C. is upset about my noticing that Terry McLaurin hasn't been moving around in the preseason. But they asked me about, fading Justin Jefferson. And it's like, people that are fading Justin Jefferson still have him ranked as a top 8 player in all of fantasy.
Here we go.
Kind of a moot point. Saquon Barkley off the board at the 108. I think it's time to embrace that uncertainty, Dwayne, and add the Bengals wide receiver 1 to the squad.
Yeah. So truly, here we go. All right. I'm figuring out, here's the draft button.
There we go. Jamar Chase officially on, what's our team name? Daisy If You Do?
Daisy If You Do on this one. It's a Tombstone reference. I'm going to keep them coming in because you have to watch.
Right.
Like, if you're not going to watch, I'm just going to keep throwing these references at you until you break down and you're like, oh my God, like I have to go watch this just so I know what the hell our team names mean.
Fine, I'll do it. It is, a nice change of pace from our constant Girl Scout cookie names, which I love. I'm not trying to hate on those, but I do.
You can hit the hide taken button right there next to defense special teams as well. That little gray button. It'll get rid of all the guys that are already drafted for you.
Boom. Now everyone can see.
And you can, if you scroll down for the viewers, like the better view is probably, there's a draft board view down. There you go. Boom.
There we go. We will toggle.
Yeah. This makes it a little bit easier. So after we took Jamar Chase, AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson go off the board. I mean, I was hoping, Ian, we might get lucky and one of those come back around to us, but no such luck here.
No such luck to us, but that's okay.
So we got to talk strategy here though, because like coming back, do we want to stay after the wide receivers? I would say if Puka Nacua is there, it's a slam dunk that you're taking it. I also do not mind taking Marvin Harrison Jr. right here. We could go Jonathan Taylor if we want to have a running back on the squad. I will say in this queue, if it holds true to form at all, running backs go earlier than what we're used to in some of the other places that we've been playing. So I'm not elated about clicking on JT though. So I would be willing to take 2 receivers here. And if that means we take 2 more when it comes back with us, like we'll figure out running back later, honestly. Yeah. But if you are really feeling it on a particular back here, then like you could talk me into taking one.
I do think if JT gets back to us, Travis Etienne just went at the round 2 turn. I mean, look at this one. We've already had 6 running backs go inside of the top 13 picks. I just think if we do get a chance to add someone like Jonathan Taylor, yes, I've done the research. I understand the dual threat impact on these running backs. But, dude, I saw the Colts beat reporters talking, moot point, Jonathan Taylor off the board.
It's fine. I think we take Puka. This is too late for Puka Nacua.
Yeah, that's fine. Puka Nacua, come on down.
All right. Let's do it.
And hey, man, I'll just take the opportunity to get 2 guys that, again, in a matter of days, could literally just be back to going.
You might not be able to get this combo
right
in 3 days from now.
Puka could be going 109. Jamar Chase could be right back going inside the top 5 overall picks. So just to finish the thought on Jonathan Taylor, man, like I saw the beat kind of talking about like, yeah, we guess Trey Sermon is, the RB2 for right now, but he's dealing with the hamstring injury. So tough to be overly confident about that. I mean, we saw the Zach Moss role during the first month of last season, and I think we could honestly, like Sunday night after week 1, which you guys can find Dwain and I breaking down all the action that just transpired, but we could literally just be sitting there, man, like, oh yeah, Jonathan Taylor is playing 90% of the snaps, and he's going to get 25 touches a game. Like, why were we overthinking this? But getting the chance to have Puka, I mean, look, it wasn't even a choice. Jonathan Taylor was off the board. So Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua start as the running backs keep on flying. Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams. You know, Dwain, I like one of the things you said over the years, a lot of things you've said over the years, not just one, I should say, but, just not letting, a draft room completely dictate how we were going to draft him. Maybe an example here where, yes, you might see yourself in a draft like this and be like, man, I got to catch up on these running backs. I cannot be left behind under any, circumstance. But at the same time, guess what? All these teams taking running backs right now, they're going to start playing catch up at wide receiver eventually. And maybe that's the time where we start getting on, because there goes Achane, there goes Rashad White.
This is beautiful. I love this. I mean, I feel great about what we're about to do. I mean, we're probably taking 2 wide receivers with our next 2 picks, and we're probably going to feel immaculate about it. We may come back and take another one after that. I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens here at running back. But I mean, right now, who would have to be here in the 3rd round to make you say you'd be willing to take a running back? For me, it's Derrick Henry, Pacheco.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm probably back on the receivers, man.
I'm not taking Joe Mixon in round 3. I'm not doing it, Dwayne. You can't make me.
I know. I'm with you.
I do think with Pacheco, man, dude, you could make an argument that Pacheco should be RB4. Like, it is there. And I understand there's going to be some camp cuts. Some stuff could happen. Maybe, Andy Reid finally gives Jerick McKinnon that long-lost phone call. But when you just look at Pacheco, the talent, I understand he runs like the ground is like his mortal enemy, and it's not the smoothest thing in the world, but the dude was a top 10 running back in rushing yards over expected. The stats that we care about, which is just efficiently picking up rushing yards, he's very good at, okay? Offensive environment, one of the best in the league. And even though, yes, the Chiefs do pass a lot, I mean, last year was the first time since freaking 2016 that they weren't a top 6 scoring offense. And along the way, they were still 7th in terms of expected PPR RB points per game. So he's got those going for him. Competition. My God, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is literally dealing with PTSD. We have Deneric Prince, who may or may not make the roster. Carson Steele is fine. He might be a fullback. And then we have the freaking rugby guy. So, we've had Andy Reid go on record saying that Pacheco is looking like someone who legit could handle all the new 3rd down snaps. And then, again, there's another factor that's kind of escaped my mind. Oh, just age and injury concerns. Like, he's 25 years old. He just went off the board. So none of this matters what I'm saying right now. But, man, Dwayne, I do think that Pacheco, if you can get him end of round 2 or even at the turn, just like, the guy in the 101 spot did, that's a pretty damn good hero RB target.
Yeah, I like Pacheco. He's a guy that I liked early in the preseason when we wrote the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept expecting to eventually be like, I don't really want to take him. And he stays right there. I've got him right behind Derrick Henry in the ranks. So yeah, I'm with you. I really like him. It's tough for me to click on him in round 2 because of some of the wide receivers, but just for the folks that end up listening to this, that don't see the draft board. So Eden and I started with Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua. After we took Nacua, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Devon Achane, Rashad White. Then Drake London goes to team 4 that started with CeeDee Lamb, so he's on a 0 running back build. Then we got Derrick Henry to the Bijan Robinson manager, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave. Ian just told you Pacheco then turns with Olave. So you got CMC, Olave, Pacheco. Then Michael Pittman and now Deebo Samuel come off the board. So very, very heavy running back drafting early on over here.
Still 4 wide receivers in Dwayne's tier that I'll pull up for you guys real quick because we have that capability.
I can already tell you if these drafts hold this way to this form, I'm gonna really like picking through the 1 through the 4, grabbing the hero and then coming back and pounding those receivers that are going to be getting to you. And the way this queue is working, for those of you that want to come play over at RealTime Sports, and we 100% encourage you guys to come do that. Again, $500,000 to first place, $300 entries.
Ooh.
But whenever you look at the way the queue is arranged, it's not by ADP, it's by projection. So that pushes a lot of running backs up because we know how well running backs project.
Yeah.
And so if people are not prepared with some sort of a cheat sheet or some sort of pre-thought through strategy, at least knowing, because I came in and looked at where all these players are ranked ahead of time. Because that's something, if you want to be prepared to do well in these drafts, because we haven't drafted one of these, That's the first thing. You got to know where are the potential values. I talk about this in my strategy articles. And I did note to Ian, I sent him several picks, and I'm like, wide receivers really do look like the values here, but we don't want to reach on running backs. And that's really held true to this point, I would say. It really does look like a lot of people are drafting off of this queue.
Bit of a wide receiver run in round 2 and round 3, I should say, which again makes sense given all the running backs. But after Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, Nico Collins, and Jalen Waddle off the board. So, Dwayne, we are up in 3 picks. I believe our preferred option here would be a certain stud rookie wide receiver playing for the.
You can say his name because we're just recording this.
I know. I just don't want to mess with the fantasy gods. You know how that works, man. I even get nervous about putting.
No, let's risk it. It says he's picked 51 in this thing. If he goes, then it's a learning lesson for us. We know, right?
Then we know for sure. Come on, Malik Neighbors. Come on.
Yeah. Let's do it. I mean, I don't think he's going. There's just too many other names people are used to. Mike Evans, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf. I mean, looking at this queue, someone definitely, like Stephon Diggs is sitting at the top of it. Someone would have to be looking for Malik Neighbors. He's way down this.
I hate you.
There he goes.
Okay,
it's okay.
It's okay. What you just did? This is your fault.
This is what we need to know, though. This is what we need to know. And he was in full on panic. He did not know what to do. Like that, or he was just trying to decide, can he get Malik Neighbors back? But he's got Justin Jefferson, Kyron Williams, and Malik Neighbors. So, I mean, that's a good start. I like it.
Okay, so I understand Brandon Ayuk, next highest ranked wide receiver. The one guy I wouldn't mind breaking a tier for would be Devonta Smith. Thoughts?
I'm fine with it. Really, Ayuk doesn't belong in that tier anymore. Like it's just I have it mismarked. He needs to come down into the next
tier. He ends
tier.
up back on the 49ers, but man, I like Devonta Smith's boom and, floor outcomes here. I just think that, I know you got Mike Evans right there as well, but we've been talking about investing in the Eagles offense all off season. He'd be our wide receiver 3. I mean, when we look at,
I'm good with it, man.
Okay. We'll lock it in. Do you have someone else that you're considering here?
No. Yeah, I do. But now I'm not going to jinx the second.
Okay. All right. We got to end.
Like I can't do both. You will be so pissed off at me.
You're
so right. I've got them both in the queue though.
Okay, I don't have that up. Just tell me. I forgive you. I was joking. Who are we between?
All right, we're taking Devonta Smith.
Okay,
right?
Let's take
Devonta
Smith.
All right, sorry.
Lock it in.
All right,
now,
cool.
We're hoping comes back to us at the risk of us,
Well, I hope it's Rashee Rice, but if it's not, I mean, there's so many receivers here, man. Cooper Kupp in round 4, I'm all over. People taking Cooper Kupp in round 2 right now, an underdog. I'm not crazy about it. Like, I mean, he's an older player. Look, I don't want to bet against Cooper Kupp. Like this guy's he's an absolute dog. He's going to work out. He's going to be prepared. Like I have no doubt. Like if someone can extend their career, especially playing from the slot in a Sean McVay offense, it's Cooper Kupp. But like there are enough signs. I don't want to take him in round 2. You let him come back around this corner in round 4.
Yeah.
My thought is we would maybe even take him here over the other name and see if the other name falls back potentially.
He's already gone.
Josh Allen.
Kupp's already gone though, brother. So
is he? Okay, sorry, I missed it.
And you know what? We got Puka anyway, so I probably wouldn't be trying to get 2.
Yeah, but it's okay. We just say it's a Stafford team.
That's true. It would be a Stafford.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, I did miss Kupp. My bad. Yeah, so Kupp's gone. Collins, you mentioned it, a wide receiver run. Kupp, Collins, Jalen Waddle, Malik Neighbors, DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith, who we took, and then right after us, Brandon Ayuk goes, and then Josh Allen is the first quarterback off the board. Now we're at the turn pick, who started with Gibbs and ETN.
About to enter into round 4. Not really looking at, I mean, Jalen Hurts would be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. So not going to completely rule that out. We'll see what wide receivers we have a chance to get though, Dwayne. If Mr. Rashee Rice is available, I do say we go ahead and pull that trigger. So top running backs in our, tier list right now, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, and Joe Mixon. I just honestly, Dwayne, I don't see enough of a difference between these guys and some of the dudes going again, literally rounds.
If you were talking me into one of these, it would be James Cook or Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
I do think those are the guys that are young. I mean, I don't need to think that they are literally the guys that are young. Like we can look it up, but they're in their prime. Yeah, there goes DJ Moore. But man, and the vibes are really good, honestly, around both of them. Sounds like Kenneth Walker is probably in a little bit more of a lead pole position than what we thought he would originally be with Zach Charbonnet. Like just so much positive stuff around him. There goes Sam Laporta. So like I do believe I wrote Kenneth Walker up as. So here goes the elite tight ends, Laporta and Kincaid off the board. So the other option that we didn't discuss is, do we like Travis Kelce here? But on those running backs, real quick, like they both just have good situations going. They're both entering year 3. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wrote Kenneth Walker up in my running back strategy article, which will drop tomorrow, as being one of my targets. But I think we take the player that we already discussed. I just feel like his ceiling is so high, and we get to start him. You good?
He was on our must-have list. What we said the other day, Dwayne, every single person that I see take Rashee Rice in the draft, I say, damn, that was a good pick. I wish I had him. And today, that person is us.
I like it.
Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice. I don't want to say, Dwayne, those are going to be the top 4 overall scoring wide receivers this year, but it's possible.
It is possible. Man, this is we're like piss boys right now. This is like, we need to get Overzet on here. But I'm telling you right now, like, you're trying to zag, or you're trying to zig, right, when other people are zagging, and the way they're taking all these running backs so early, we don't normally get to start with 4 wide receivers like this. Right. I mean, it's really hard to get these 4. So we'll see what happens. Like with Rashee Rice, I'm sure we're going to be in other drafts where we don't get to take him, like if we're at the other end of the draft, we won't take him in round 3. So we'll see, like, does he actually make it past this spot? We just took him. He's way down this list, but I'm with you. I just didn't want to mess with it. I just want to try to win this league right now. And I think Rashee Rice gives us the best chance to do that.
And look, I mean, there's really a good chance that we draft 6, 7 wide receivers. And honestly, I don't want many, if any of them, to be coming outside of the top, 50 or so dudes at the position in a redraft league. Look, I am turning into, hey, I'm only the president of one fan club, Dwayne. That is Cordero Patterson. It will always be Cordero Patterson. But with the amount of Greg Dortch propaganda out there, man, I had someone DM me today. They're like, hey, man, like, are you actually drafting Greg Dortch all the time, or is it more of a joke? And I was like, yeah, it's definitely more of a joke. And best ball, okay, last 2 rounds, I have drafted a good amount of Greg Dortch. But when are we ever going to feel good about starting someone like that in redraft, Dwayne? Never. And you can say the same thing for almost every person going like wide receiver 60 or later. So when I'm in round, honestly, round 12, 13, save for some of these ESPN drafts where you will see the Brian Thomas Jr.'s of the world falling. Dude, I want to spend all those late round picks on handcuffed running backs, because those are the guys legit one thing away from being in the starting lineup, not these wide receivers who need infinite factors to break their way, honestly, unless we happen to hit the one Puka Nacua, which is great, but man, that's not the game I'm trying to risk.
Yeah. I'm with you. And like the way this is going, I think, securing the wide receivers and then like having to figure the running backs out is the best way to go. Trey McBride just went. So I was really hoping we might have a shot at one of the elite tight ends. That's probably not going to happen now. Like, there's no way Kelce or Andrews makes it back to us, most likely.
Yeah.
But I did put Patrick Mahomes in the queue. We've got Rashee Rice. You and I have both talked about Patrick Mahomes is about to go absolutely freaking nuclear.
0.05 passing yards too.
Yes. So I put him in our queue since we have Rice. A name to remember that you and I both like at the running back position this year that's going later here. We'll see if he makes it. Everything won't work out this way. But James Conner's down at 71.
Yeah.
Like, he's below Javonte, Zamir White, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Warren, Devin Singletary. He's below all those guys. Yeah. So like, that's a name, like, just to kind of put in your back pocket. My guess is James Conner is going to be on this squadron. I don't mind taking him with one of the next 2 picks to at least have something at running back, assuming like these guys don't let, Kenneth Walker or something like that fall back to us.
We'll see what's
there goes Kelce.
Yeah, with James Conner, I have an article going on FantasyLife.com. It'll be live by the time you guys are listening to this. But looking at just some of the biggest ADP risers, since really the Hall of Fame game, aka August 1st, and James Conner has boomed up like 16 or 18 spots in some of those FFPC main event drafts. And I don't think it's just one bad, games tapes worth of film on Trey Benson necessarily, man. I think people are just kind of realizing, like, my God, Cardinals offense isn't going to be as bad as last year. And James Conner, even in those bad versions, was still returning upside RB2 value, if not legit RB1 production. So 100% with you on James Conner being a prime 0 RB candidate, which is certainly what we are working with here. So after
I'm telling you, man, if you can get Hero over here in this format, it's the way to go. Like, this dude just got Mike Evans in round 4.
Yeah, that's pretty hot right there.
Like, if you have Bijan, like, I promise you, I would have laid off on the Derrick Henry thing. then you go 3 wide receivers. Not that I would be against taking Derrick Henry with Bijan Robinson. I think it's fine. And we'll adapt as we do more of these. We're gonna do as many of these as we can for you guys. But looking at this, I just feel like, man, hero in that top 4 picks. There goes Mahomes. That's going to be like, that feels like the elite strategy over here.
Hero is my favorite strategy when it works. We're not going to force it with a running back that we don't consider to be a hero. Like, let's face it, team, we don't need to call him out, but team 5 who took Tyreek Hill. Okay, cool. Awesome. At 105, that's great. Then you had to force Rachaad White, though, in the middle of round 2, man. I just feel like that's a situation where you let that guy go and hope he comes back around to you in round 3. Way too much wide receiver talent still on the board for me there. Devin Achane, Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor. I can wrap my head around that. Rachaad White just not exactly fitting that hero, strategy for me. It's called hero for a reason, Dwayne. Again, if you don't consider this to be a legit hero in your eyes, what are you doing drafting him as one?
Yeah, this draft room feels really old school. The guy just at the 1 now has McCaffrey, Olave, Pacheco, Kenneth Walker, and Joe Mixon.
All right. Take them. That's what I say whenever.
Well, no, I mean, it feels like that's what you should do, but that strategy has not been successful. Like, I mean, we've seen it. Like, you're just going to have too many issues with it. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
Mahomes off the board as well. So,
I mean, that was with Stephon Diggs still sitting there. I know that, we're not as high on Stephon Diggs as we have in the past, but I mean, like Stephon Diggs in round 5.
I don't hate it, man. If I'm going to be drafting him, that's where it's going to be. Just not round 3. Like, you got to go some of these times. So Ramondre Stevenson off the board in round 5. People love their running backs over here. So I want to be careful. I understand it's an important position, and this is a redraft. We can't just be completely best ball broing over here. But again, 20 long rounds. And I don't know about you, Dwayne, but I certainly think there are plenty of viable handcuff targets that we're going to have a chance to get once, again, some of these running back heavy squads are finally looking to other positions. But as we get into round 5, still some quality players at every position. Lamar Jackson rounding out the kind of tier 1 of quarterbacks. Still got Mark Andrews as well. That'd be pretty sweet if he falls a few more picks. Kyle Pitts and George Kittle not too far behind him. So I think we have some flexibility, Dwayne. Would James Conner be a pick for you here, or is he more of a guy where we take probably a player we have ranked higher overall and hope he comes back to us in round 6?
I'm really open to getting James Conner just because, like, I feel so good about our wide receivers and I don't want to get completely boxed out. The thing is, like, the way the drafters are thinking, and it's not wrong, you can start up to 4 running backs. Yep. Like, you can start all 4. Like, just like we're like, well, we're going to start all 4 of our wide receivers.
That's legal.
So, yeah, but in a full PPR, wide receivers outscore running backs at pretty much every level. The top 3 are typically running backs, but you're not typically getting one of the top 3 running backs after, you pass on the elite guys like, Brees, Bijan, CMC. You might get lucky, and land another top 3 guy. But after that, it's really all about the wide receivers. The rest of the first round is wide receivers. If you look at the first round by itself, running backs win that, or still not first round, but top 12 overall players when you're looking at running back, wide receiver, tight end in a full PPR. Wide receivers are 44% of the time, 55% of running backs, but it's mostly top loaded in the top 3. And then after that, the guys that rank 4th to 12th, wide receiver takes the lead, and then wide receiver leads all the buckets, all the rest of the way down. Who went?
Andrews.
Okay. Yeah. I had him at the top of our queue.
That's okay. It was going to be a bit, bit lucky to get him all the way down here. Just come on, team.
So
you already got
Zay Flowers went, Stephon Diggs went, Lamar Jackson, Amari Cooper, and then Mark Andrews.
All right, this team already has Saquon. They already have Jacobs. There's no need to snipe our running back. Come on. I think you can argue James Conner, like, straight up. If we're not playing the ADP game, you could argue James Conner over guys like Rachaad White. And now we freaking got him, Dwayne. Let's go.
So do you want to take Conner here or see if he comes back? You want to just get him and be done?
I think so. I think there's a pretty big drop off from Conner to the rest of the running backs I'm looking at. I would not feel good if Aaron Jones or David Montgomery is our RB1. I feel okay.
All right. I have them all in the same tier, but I do prefer Conner.
absolute workhorse. So again, like if you want to take James Conner versus Rashad White straight up, like if there was a betting market for who's going to score more fantasy points, I think it'd be a hell of a lot closer than what their ADP is. You can argue ADP is a betting market for these guys, but you know what? Sometimes there's some misprices in there. So James Conner, come on down, our first running back off the board in round 5. So again, didn't necessarily fully plan on coming in here and going as much zero RB as we did. I would have pushed Dwain to take Jonathan Taylor back in round 2 if we had the chance, but we didn't. So Dwain, we were trying to be like water, and we accordingly adjusted. So rounding out round 5, we now have Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice, and our true RB1, James Conner. I mean, who's to say James Conner won't finish RB1 overall, Dwain? It's August. This is the time when fantasy dreams are in the air. But getting into round 6, there is a certain tight end that is, a tier breaker. That said, I do think there are still some very good wide receivers on the board.
Yeah, so I have Kyle Pitts at the top of our queue. But I don't have to take him here. I've got Tank Dell sitting right there next to him.
Yeah, I am wearing a Texans hat.
It's and then you got T. Higgins. Is that right? I'm making sure I'm marking all these guys off. T. Higgins is still here. George Pickens is still here. Xavier Worthy. I want to let him go because it looks like he falls in this format. I want to test that out, see if it actually happens. There goes Pickens.
I know those are some pretty damn good wide receivers.
I mean, Pitts, Tank Dell, T. Higgins.
Having Jamar Chase, would this just become a Joe Burrow team for you?
Oh, dude, it really could.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Burrow, pretty good at football.
There goes Richardson.
Some, a.k.a. Peyton Manning, might say a top.
There goes Tank Dell.
Might make our decision easy for us here.
All right, we're one pick away. It's Pitts or Higgins. What are you feeling?
There goes Evan Ingram. Okay. Do we think Pitts is the
I don't mind taking Joe Burrow with just Jamar Chase. So
I hear you.
But I mean, getting T. Higgins at this point, Xavier Worthy though might come back. I don't know. These guys are going to have to start taking wide receivers.
I mean, Deontay and Ridley.
I like getting one of the onesies as an elite here.
Let's get Kyle.
A potential elite.
Let's go Kyle Pitts. I'm feeling good about Kyle Pitts.
All right, let's do it.
And I know everyone, Kyle Pitts, why is this year going to be any different? Well, there's actually 3 reasons why. 1, his injury. We have certifiable learning doctors, Dr. Jeff Mueller, who I trust with my freaking life, or, at least my fantasy football, injury analysis, is, on record saying Kyle Pitts should be far healthier, an extra year removed from, again, a far more devastating knee injury than we knew about. Just like everyone's getting hyped about Javonte Williams looking back to himself. Guess who else is? 1, Kyle Pitts. Number 2, you know what didn't help last year? Having Jonnu Smith split his freaking targets. And guess where Jonnu Smith is now playing? In Miami. There is not another receiving threat on the Falcons roster, even close to what Jonnu was bringing to the table last year. So we're now expecting Pitts to dominate that tight end target share. And number 3, Dwain, I think maybe the whole Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota experience wasn't the best, quarterback offensive environment in the league. Oh, wait, we now have Kirk Cousins under center, who, as I think, you said on one of our many podcasts together recently, which I love, my friend. But, just mentioning, if Kirk Cousins throws for 4,500 yards and 30-plus touchdowns, I wouldn't be necessarily shocked about it. And guess who would be a major recipient of that? 1, Kyle Pitts. So, yeah, feeling good. Kyle Pitts, round 6.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at our starting lineup right now, we've got Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice, all in the starting lineup. James Conner, we don't have a running back 2 yet, but we've got Kyle Pitts. So we need a starting quarterback, and we need another running back, right? And we're rounding out depth. So by taking Pitts there, you get yourself out of a potential jam where you're needing the quarterback and the tight end.
Yeah.
And that's where things can really get messy on you. We could have gone T. Higgins there and I would have felt equally good about it. But to me, the tiebreaker is T. Higgins on your bench or Kyle Pitts at a tier break that we think could be a guy that still could be a top 3 tight end. And he's in your starting lineup in week 1. I feel like you've got to lean into Pitts, and we're going to draft a bunch of these teams. And my guess is, based on the way these queues look and the way this draft is going, I think we're going to have opportunities, to do some other, things where we get T. Higgins and some of these other wide receivers that we can't believe, that we're getting later in drafts. So I think we made the right move there. As far as just feeling really balanced right now. Don't feel like we got too greedy in any area. My guess is we're still going to really get a quarterback that we like as well.
And it's a good example of something that I know you've preached a lot this offseason of like knowing your lineups where, yeah, guess what? If we had to start 3 wide receivers, Dwayne, I think we probably are going T. Higgins there. But the fact we do have 2 and that Higgins wouldn't even have a starting spot for us, to me, in a very close call between Kyle Pitts and T. Higgins, that's enough of a tiebreaker to go ahead and make that move. So,
and looking to our left, like to the other end of the board, like past us, we had, 1, 2, 3. We had 3 other teams without a tight end. Like, there's just no way that Kyle Pitts is coming back. And I just feel differently about Kyle Pitts versus David Njoku, Brock Bowers. I like those players, but I don't feel the same, about them. And again, I really think Xavier Worthy's coming back here. I don't even know if we're going to get to take him because we might decide to take our quarterback and another back, depending. Like, the backs keep going. After we picked Aaron Jones, Amir White, David Montgomery are all gone.
I do think like value pound for pound, Dallas Goedert is my favorite tight end pick this year, but I get nervous, Dwayne, and it's a similar sentiment with Jaden Daniels where I don't want to put all my eggs in that one basket with the guy coming back, especially when we do have someone like Kyle Pitts, where in my opinion, he does deserve to be in that elite top 7 tight end conversation. And man, I'm with you. I got him ranked tight end 6. I might even have him ranked tight end 5, and to get him tight end 8, I will take, that extra little bit of value there. So you mentioned some of the running backs going off the board, also at Jake Ferguson. So yeah, pretty safe to say we were not going to be getting Kyle Pitts back. But rounding out round 6, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley off the board. Wouldn't mind Ridley coming back. But yeah, Dwayne, currently the number 1 running back on our, just nifty, handy dandy Excel sheet over here is Raheem Mostert.
I would take him in a heartbeat. I would love to get him here.
I was about to say be a pretty nice option for our, elderly RB room, but a potentially potent one nonetheless. I mean, look, I don't want to completely quote someone. I can't.
There goes Worthy. So that's good to know. Like, Worthy was sitting at like past 100 on this list. So here's what I'm going to say. There are people in here in this draft that are definitely drafting off of like their own tiers and sheets, but there are also definitely drafters in here that are drafting off this queue. So what's going to happen is it's going to be a matter of like when you get in drafts where you happen to be in a draft where more of them than not are drafting straight off this queue versus you're going to get in other drafts where you're probably going to have sharp, not to say they're not sharp for drafting off the queue. It's just not the way I would draft, based on how I know to build, the way I've built, winning lineups in the past. But you're also going to get in drafts where it's probably going to be more a bunch of people like us sitting here marking off a tiers list. And you're going to be like, man, like I'm not getting any of these values. So I think you're going to kind of learn that quickly, though. I think you're going to have to read the room like after probably 3 rounds, and you're going to know pretty quick what that's all about. So there goes Mostert. And that's to a 0 RB build. Like that person went Lamb, London, Cup, Kelsey, Flowers, David Montgomery, Mostert. So on a very similar track like that we are. And Mostert just sticks out like a sore thumb if you're drafting a team like that.
So now, Dwayne, there's not really a wide receiver sticking out. There's some we like, but it's more of an extended tier at this point. Guys like Deontay Johnson.
I think Keenan Allen is like people are freaking out for nothing.
I don't hate it, but I do think it's another opportunity for us to maybe get elite with a certain pint-sized dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, but I like Burrow too. And so behind us, 2 guys have quarterback. So I don't want to take a quarterback.
We could wait.
Here, I think you let quarterback come back to us.
Okay.
I also just generally wait on quarterback in these leagues where you need to start 4 when you got to start 2 flex players.
It's fair. So what wide receiver?
I'm not against it. I think we're just talking through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
No, I think it's a great point looking at the guys behind us, Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson teams. Could the other guy, take one of these quarterbacks? Yes. He doesn't immediately have a Cardinals or Bengals stack though. So, hey man, if we get Joe Burrow versus Kyler Murray, they're in the same tier for a reason. I'm not going to be losing sleep necessarily, even though I do have Kyler ranked ahead of him. So Deontay Johnson off the board. That was
I personally want to take another wide receiver right here. And the reason why is even though like we're looking at this tier and we're like, oh, like, look, the tier, it's so great. Like it's about to get hairy really quick.
No, you're right.
I don't want to let these guys tack on these receivers to these heavy running back builds. And we've made our bed. We have said we are flexing wide receiver all season. So I want to keep the pressure on wide receiver, in my opinion. So, I mean, I've got 3 guys in the queue. Did Jaden Reed go? Yeah. Okay. So I've got Jaden Reed, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze in the queue right now?
Everything tells us, based on the data we have right now, that Odunze is the odd man out, and
but might not be by the end of the year. And even
True.
if he is the odd man out, like there's a chance he's just Tank Dell anyway.
Like,
yeah, you know what I mean.
And there goes
Keenan.
Moot point. Thank God.
See, but this is going to tell us like this guy's going to take one, and we're going to take one.
Most likely. For me, I got Rome Odunze, I believe, over Jaden Reed. It sounded way more confident in my head before I said it out loud. I'll be honest.
I'm fine with it, to be honest. They're both going to have the same issue, and Rome Odunze is a better player.
And I could see Rome potentially rising to the top. Jaden's very good, don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be 4 wide receivers in Green Bay. And, Chicago, Rome could eventually.
All right, Jordan Addison went, so we're taking Rome, correct?
We're taking Rome Odunze. Let's go. Round 7, Rome, come on down. And look, I'm not trying to write off DJ Moore or Keenan Allen at all. They're going to be involved too. But honestly, as a tiebreaker, there's 4 guys in Green Bay. There's 3 in Chicago. One may or may not be 270 pounds at this point. I would not be citing that if we end up taking Keenan Allen. Of course, that's the way, fantasy football works here. But Rome Odunze, look, we don't have to start him right now, Dwain. So, he's a lottery ticket on our bench. That's not a bad one to have.
For sure. And I'm just looking down the list. Like, while he was a little bit down it, I don't care. There goes Jaylen Warren. You could have talked, honestly, if Jaylen Warren wasn't hurt, we probably would have taken him right there.
Yeah, I hear you. Is Najee still there? No, he went.
He went way early.
Oh, he's round 4. I was about to say I couldn't find him.
And there goes Jonathan Brooks.
Okay, so we could start picking between one of the Cincy running backs, but again, I think potentially getting that elite onesie here could.
We could also just take Jaden Reed.
Yeah, that's true. If he really comes back to us, man, because then at that point, we're talking about one more wide receiver, and we're probably good.
Yeah, and it's like you said earlier. You're like, I would rather just have all these guys, and then we're probably done, at wide receiver, and we pile on a bunch of, options for running back too.
We got our James Conner. So one of our RB spots is good.
Yes. Now, you could talk me into taking one of these running backs from this tier. So this tier that we're looking at, all of these guys have some sort of, the way I tiered this, all of these players have some sort of role right now, and it could be surprisingly better than what we think in week 1, right? But no matter what, they're all in at least a timeshare. There goes Jaden Reed. So that takes that. We don't have to get tempted by that.
Okay.
Ian's sitting here thinking, okay, I'm actually thinking that's good. The tier below that, right, is we're getting into handcuff territory, right? Really more handcuff territory. You could make the argument that Zeke could go in this tier above as well.
We don't feel good with Zeke as our RB2, though. Let's face it.
Right. We'd rather him be like our running back 3. Actually, we want Rico Dowdle to be our running back 3. So, Rico Dowdle's right there in the next tier. You could make an argument that he belongs actually in this tier above. I didn't perfectly re-tier everything before the show, so these are pretty rough tiers. But yeah, overall, we know these players in this tier, they're going to get touches. I won't feel terrible if Brian Robinson Jr. is my running back 2 in week 1 with the wide receivers we're starting.
I would prefer Chase Brown, though.
I will say I think Chase Brown has more upside total, but I'm way more, and I don't know how much better it is, honestly, than Brian Robinson Jr. And I think that Brian Robinson Jr. is probably getting 55 to 60% of this team's carries. I think Austin Eckler's getting the passing down work.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't even think Brian Robinson is necessarily going to dominate the goal line work. That was one of my takeaways after preseason week 1. Eckler was in on the 3-yard line when Jaden Daniels ran that tutty in.
Yeah, I get it, but I just don't. I want to be real careful about reading too much into carries inside the 5. They're so random anyway.
That's fine.
I wouldn't put that much.
Who gets more? Honestly, I think Zach Moss over Brian Robinson Jr., I think. Just Bengals versus Washington, similar role, similar talent. That's how I view it.
I get it. I'm just saying, the guy I know for sure, pretty much, I feel really good about his role, is Robinson, for me. But if you want to take Chase Brown, he definitely has the most upside of these guys.
First or last, right? And we don't have a last place punishment to worry about. I know at least. Chase Brown, do you feel strong? You have Chase Brown ranked out of Brian Robinson on the sheet.
I know. I'm just thinking about this build. All right, I'm going to take Chase Brown. You good?
Let's go Chase Brown. Look, I'm not saying Brian Robinson couldn't be useful, but I have a hard time believing Brian Robinson is like flirting with our top 15 after week 1. Chase Brown could be.
Wait. Sorry, but the running back must be in order for you to make a selection. I don't know what that means.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's not letting me take him.
Oh, I think there's something going on up top.
Okay.
In the chat, someone's complaining about their service. I think we're paused.
Okay, cool. I was just saying, yeah, I was like, okay, well, what do I do? I was trying to reorder everything.
Oh man, that'd be devastating if we get sniped after all that. Wanted, I think, Najigba. Okay, they're up again. Oh, okay. Najigba went a couple picks earlier. Okay, I think we're up now. Chase Brown.
So Jackson Smith and Jigba is gone.
Chase Brown, come on down.
All right, cool.
Again, could Brian Robinson outscore him? Sure, but we want pass catching. We want big plays. Those are both going to Chase Brown. Who's got the better offense? Definitely Chase Brown. Maybe, just maybe, Dwain building one hell of a Burrow stack. We'll see if he makes it back to us. Not the most likely outcome, but man, already got two good ones.
Yeah, we'll see. Burrow's probably going to go.
Yeah, I think so.
But if he doesn't, it's a very easy pick. The thing is, I feel so good at quarterback. I mean, it's just like, it's just so hard, man. Like, there's still Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love are all still on the board. Like,
what if, like, worst case, we get Tua, man? There's options here, and they fall so much. What I'll be curious with, I know one thing that you and me talked about a lot last year was in a lot of the NFFC draft rooms, man, teams were loading up with 2, sometimes even 3 quarterbacks. And that was one of those things where we were hoping on, some drafts to really let guys fall, and it just didn't quite get there. So I'll be curious how that turns out here, because as much as I do want to keep playing that, something to keep an eye on as we start getting more and more of these specific drafts under our belt.
For sure. So I'm loading up the queue now. I'm putting Pollard in. I'm putting Tajay Spears into the queue. Nice. Devin Singletary already went really early in this draft. He went in.
You said his ADP was really high here. Like you mentioned,
yeah, it is.
He was above Connor, right?
Yeah, it was higher. So there goes Burrow.
Okay, yeah, wasn't.
So we don't get the Burrow stack, but that's okay. We kind of knew that was going to happen when we took Chase Brown. Just too many teams on the other side that don't have a quarterback. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that need a quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I'm not as worried about stacking in this format. And we still have Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Jordan Love. I think we're getting one of those quarterbacks. There goes Dak Prescott. So, yeah, we're getting one. Unless somebody decides to take 2, and then whatever. We'll just say F it. We've done it before.
Sounds good to me. We have done it before, indeed. So
I don't mind, honestly, having Zach Moss. I don't mind having both Zach Moss and Chase Brown in a managed league.
Yeah.
Because if either one of them, we look up after week 1, one of them gets 60% of the work, we're going to be like, fine, we're just starting that dude. And to your point, like we do like this offense better than the Commanders.
I mean, look, I think earlier in the offseason, I called, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery kind of the Whole Foods running back combo, and Chase Brown, Zach Moss, more of the Target combo. But guess what, Dwayne? I love shopping at Target. So maybe it's one of these things where it works out well enough for us, because I think if either of them goes down, I mean, we've seen the Chase Brown, some of the preseason usage and the murmurs, and just hell, pull up the Illinois game log, man. Like, this is not this Jaleel McLaughlin, 190-pound running back where we're a bit more worried about him potentially ever having the chance to get that featured job. This is a guy where I think, again, if something would happen to Moss, just like if something would happen to Brown, I do think he does have the skill set and the size and potentially even the coaching trust to go ahead and really take over and become someone that needs to be in the starting lineup. So Jordan Love goes at the end of round 8. It looks like we are one of now 2 teams, Dwayne, without a quarterback still. So,
and one of them's in front of us. So we're good though. We're getting Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, and I'm fine.
And that would be in round 10, because we know the teams after us have Kyler, Josh, and Richardson, and it would be ill-advised of them to take another quarterback right now.
Yes. You are correct.
There
I was
goes
wanting one of those running backs to come back. So we need to start having a conversation around the next tier of running backs.
Pollard would be a dream.
Yeah, we've got Pollard in the queue. My guess is he's going to be gone. Look, he's number 2 in the queue right now, and there's so many people like this team. Fart 2 is the team's name. He's a 0 RB build, and he comes back with David Montgomery, Raheem Mostert, and Joe Burrow. He's taking Tony Pollard here if he's available.
A couple wide receivers I am still interested in. If we can't get Pollard, I do think Keon Coleman and Jamison Williams would make a bit of sense here as our.
I have Marquise Brown in the queue too.
Yeah.
There goes Pollard. Pollard just went.
Okay, so Pollard is
the thing is we don't have to worry about the first 2 weeks of the season. Like, look at our wide receivers.
True.
Like, if it was straight up Marquise Brown wasn't hurt, you would take him over both of those players.
I would. That's true. Eckler off the board. Running backs that we have available: Blake Corum, Trey Benson, Rico Dowdle, Zach Charbonnet. So we are pretty much in handcuff territory, save for if you want to try to figure out those Cowboys and Chargers backfield. So, hey, not saying you can't strike gold with the right one, but again, after some of these wide receivers, Hollywood Brown, Jamison Williams, Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, things do get a bit worrisome in a hurry here. So 3 picks before we are up, Dwayne. Sounds like you are leaning towards the artist known as Hollywood.
I am, but I know we need these backs.
Yeah.
There goes Dowdle. Wow. He was way down the queue.
We got some drafters in here. They're doing their thing.
Yep.
Corum is in one of my top handcuffs for a reason. I would not hate that pick, man. We are not a Kyren Williams team, and if anything happens to him, there's Nick Chubb. It's always funny seeing where he goes, depending on the draft. Dude,
we're one away here.
We were in that mock draft yesterday, Dwayne, with Roto World, and I got Chubb like pick 153. Okay, there goes Trey Benson.
We're gonna take Corum.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
Because Corum's the pick, man, that if suddenly Kyron's out after week 1 and we look at this roster, we're like, we're winning.
Yeah. And look, we kind of already put our chip down on Rashee Rice. I'm not saying it is Patrick Mahomes. They could throw for 5,000 yards. Okay. I'm not saying Hollywood and Rashee can't ball out, but I will say, man, like when I was drafting a ton more Marquise Brown earlier in the offseason, it was a bit more under the assumption that Rashee Rice was finally going to be serving the suspension. So maybe I didn't play it right then, but don't let yesterday's mistake, completely, what's it, sunk cost fallacy type of thing. That happened then. We are now dealing with life now. So Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman off the board right after us. Keon could have been a fun time. So I hear you.
Taking Shakir over Coleman is really ballsy. Like, I don't even know that Shakir's a full-time player right now. Like, I mean, there's a chance, like, if Curtis Samuel's good to go, we're talking like a dude playing 40% of the time.
Yeah. I mean,
again, it's preseason utilization. It doesn't like, it's not like the end all be all. But still, like, I'd much rather see him getting run with the ones. And getting more playing time. Like, that's pretty bothersome to me.
I think now the question becomes, Dwayne, how much do you love Jaden Daniels?
I don't mind pushing this. Because Jaden Daniels and now, like, essentially, really, I need to redraw this tier. We still have Brock Purdy available too.
I was about to say, I wouldn't love it. I would prefer one of Daniels and Caleb. All right. And then we can add on we'll probably add another quarterback later, way later, just in that case. Wouldn't have to necessarily, but I wouldn't mind.
No, we won't have to.
Wouldn't mind, though, having a, late round, Watson, Stafford type of situation there potentially, just because I do think they, if things go right, could arguably be someone we start over him. But basically, are you comfortable if we don't get either Jaden or Caleb? I think I am.
Oh man, well, Goff? This dude just took Goff, so that changes things.
That's
like if they're really going to be willing to take two quarterbacks this early, and Goff's the name that somehow gets taken, that scares me.
Is there a player you are dying to get right now? For me, I am not dying to get Marquise Brown. I would almost prefer to get our great quarterback.
Yeah, I think Marquise is pretty much a steal right here. I think Brock Bowers is a potential still if you have any concerns over Pitts, but
I think we already got Pitts. We're good.
No, I get it, but like I think Bowers is, once you get to round 10, it's pretty good value.
You can make he's probably not gonna make it back to us. That's fair. We're not tight end premium though. What scenario?
Everybody has a quarterback except for one team behind us. There goes Curtis Samuel. Yeah, the challenge is I'm with you. Is
there
there
goes
a
Marquise
name?
Brown.
All right.
Moot point. Awesome.
All right. So Jaden.
I kind of like Jameson Williams.
I don't think Jameson Williams is enough to tempt me, but
we know the talent's there. He's
maybe we don't know for sure. Actually, that's the thing. We don't know.
He
we know he's a first round pick
for a reason.
I know, but we've had a lot. We have guys. We have guys bust though. Like he's 3 years in, so I honestly prefer getting Jaden Daniels.
Let's take Jaden Daniels.
All right.
Lock it in. There we go. Jaden Daniels, come on down. Dwain's the quarterback that you wanted to come away with in your quarterback strategy piece. And, Dwain, look at that. We came away with him.
Now, I won't be against Caleb Williams also on the team.
Yeah.
Because I feel like between the two, you're for sure hitting on it. But, yeah. All right.
Be curious again to see how many more teams are going to load up on a second QB. Naturally, Jameson Williams goes right off the board as soon as we are done, but wasn't really going to be
a guy that's way down this thing that I never take. I feel like he goes too high in most drafts that I do, but I know that you might be able to talk me into him.
Mm-hmm.
Is Gus Edwards.
Oh,
just if you're looking for pure potential volume early in the season. So I just put him in the queue. Like, we really need to talk about these running backs. I think Zeke is similar. Like, I have Zeke actually ranked slightly ahead of Gus Edwards. I think Zach Charbonnet is obviously still a great handcuff, even though we think that Kenneth Walker is probably pretty clearly the lead. We say pretty clearly, as far as we can tell, it feels like he's going to be the lead guy.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard's a guy that could give you points early in the season.
I like Ty Chandler too, man.
Yeah, I like Ty Chandler as a handcuff. I like Ray Davis. I like Tyler Algier. I think Tyler Algier and Ty Chandler are the same thing. Ty Chandler has slightly a better opportunity to carve out a little bit more work, but I like the Falcons offense.
I understand we have a beat writer projecting Falcons running backs to have about 60 carries per game out here. But, when you do look at Aaron Jones versus Bijan Robinson, yeah, I'm a bit more confident in Bijan taking over the backfield. And honestly, just based on age and some of the injury history, staying healthy enough to continue to have that workhorse role. So for me, Ty Chandler, he has the handcuff upside, but there could be a situation where we look up and it's like, oh man, this is, pretty close to 50-50 going on in a Minnesota offense that, maybe doesn't suck. So we'll see what happens when I get back to us. We do have quite a bit, but wide receivers starting to fly off the board. And hey, again, I do think JMO has his.
There goes Caleb as a double tap to the guy with Lamar.
We weren't going to get either of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad the Jared Goff guy did what he did.
Yeah.
That caught my attention.
And hey, that's all about knowing your draft room. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So there goes Zeke. We really just need to pile on every running back body that we can get.
And Greg Dortch eventually.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, man, we can take a chance later with someone like maybe Josh Downs or Xavier Leggett. I know you're not big on
Where are you at right now on your guy, Rashid Shaheed? Are you just so worried about all the injuries that you've moved him well down your board? That's why he's falling in drafts. But I still do believe that the talent is there. Dontavian Wicks is another guy that I'm like, look, I know it's going to be a crowded room, but one of those Packers receivers goes down, and Dontavian Wicks, as far as I can tell, is might be a wide receiver 2 immediately.
Okay, here we go.
That's the kind of player.
We finally got an update on Rashid Shaheed. Dennis Allen says that Rashid Shaheed's injury isn't something that will keep him out for an extended period of time, i.e. the toe and foot issue. So,
okay.
Allen said Rashid does not have turf toe. Okay, good. I mean, it's not ideal, man, but the reports before this were that he was just absolutely tearing up camp. So I know Derek Carr isn't everyone's favorite quarterback, but I mean, he could have 120 targets this year. It's Olave and absolutely nobody else in this passing game. Alvin Kamara, I get it, but Derek Carr tied CJ Stroud 300 passing yard games last year. That happened. I didn't, remember it happening, but it actually did happen. So. If he comes back to us, I do think Shaheed stands out as one of these wide. Like at this point, we're not taking a wide receiver just to take one. It would have to be someone that we actually do believe in from both a talent point and their projected volume. And for me, Rashid Shaheed, I do believe in Dontavian Wicks's, talent. And let's face it, if one Packers wide receiver goes down, he's stepping up. I know handcuff wide receivers usually aren't a thing, but my God, if there ever was one, it is Dontavian Wicks. Jalen Polk, I wouldn't be completely against. Mike Williams, I can see the path to success. I'd like to wait. Definitely not, in this next round, but maybe he falls to us. Jerry Jeudy, Josh Downs. And I know I listed several guys there, but honestly, Dwayne, like that's
at receiver. The only ones I would be willing to take, honestly, are Shaheed, Wicks, and Polk. That's it. Okay. And at running back, I mean, obviously, we just have to pile guys on.
Are you out on Jeudy, even though it's like a wide receiver 65?
Yeah, on this team. I mean, honestly, I'd rather go for the upside guys that suddenly force me to, figure out, oh my God, like who am I going to start this guy over? I just don't think Jerry Jeudy's going to do that.
We can't give him a little bit of, slack. Wasn't exactly playing with the best quarterbacks during his career. He's been playing through the pain some of these recent years.
Is he playing with a good quarterback now? See, you had to pause.
I know.
We're hoping he's playing with a good quarterback now. I'm not against Jerry Jeudy. I wouldn't take him with one of these two picks.
How would you feel if we knew Jameis Winston was starting 17 games for the Browns?
Would you feel? Do what?
How
would I feel if Jameis Winston was wheeling and dealing to Jerry Jeudy?
Would that make you want to draft Jeudy?
I would feel a lot better. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I would feel better about the whole free. That's what you're saying, is that the Winston is gonna be the starter?
No, I'm just saying, like, if your concern is that Watson is the problem,
they're not going to bench Watson though. They're not, unless he gets hurt, just because like they have they're so sunk with him.
He's already hurt. He's icing his arm. Jesus. It's happening. Oh. By the way, it is kind of funny. Like, I get it. Coming off shoulder injury changes things, but I don't know. Quarterbacks, how many passes they throw every day? Like, is it the weirdest thing to have a guy have his arm be a little bit sore? Like, people are losing their mind over Watson getting a day off. Meanwhile, the same thing happened to Anthony Richardson, also coming off of shoulder surgery, not that long ago. So I'm just saying, man, I know it's been
we probably this is probably all a moot point. Like, we probably just looking at the running backs. We probably, and there goes Vidal.
We got double tap
Vidal off the board. We're gonna have to double tap running back. Like, I don't think we even honestly have a choice. And then later, if we get lucky and someone like a Wicks falls to us, who is right now player 228 in this freaking queue, we obviously know there's people that they've got some good lists, right? And they're drafting off of them. So it's probably not making it, but I feel like we're going to have to take some backs.
Bowers and Goddard go at the end of round 10. So this kind of goes back, and Dwayne and I are going to have we're going to spend the Fantasy Life show here on Friday, kind of going through just our general round by round draft guide. I've had an article go out recently about almost a beginner's guide to it. If you're just, again, I'm trying to help my wife, learn fantasy football and do her league. And one of my points in that was just have your starting lineup basically filled out by round 10. Just not even the flexes, just have your quarterback, your tight end, have 2 running backs, have 2 or 3 wide receivers. Like, just make sure you have that figured out, because as we're seeing right here, Dwayne, again, look at the quarterbacks available now, look at the tight ends available. It really does, after the top 120 picks, become very hard to feel good about those elite onesies positions. And if you happen to get again, Jaden Daniels or any quarterback better than him, a Dallas Goedert, Brock Bowers, any tight ends better than them, guess what? You don't need to take a second one out the position because you feel that good about their potential upside. So we're almost on the clock again.
I'm kind of thinking of a pairing here of a guy that we know we could probably just use paired with an upside player.
Why couldn't Gus Edwards be like a middle-class man's version of this year's Raheem Mostert?
I don't normally draft him, but I would take him if we want him right here. And then come back and we get one of Jalen Wright, Tracy, Lloyd, one of these other, Jalil McLaughlin. Really, I mean, we want multiple, but I mean, Gus Edwards does not get me excited. But there's a chance Chase Brown gets a 30% snap share in week 1 and Blake Corum's a backup. And we're like, well, who's our running back 2?
Piron, the Bengals are going to break.
All right. So let's take Gus Edwards. I think he works on this build. I know we don't love him, but I think this is a smart pick.
I don't love it.
I know you don't, but you like Gus Edwards more than me.
But like, is his usage gonna be that different than even Ty Chandler or Ray Davis? Dude, Dobbins is coming on.
Probably.
I don't know. They're saying that Edwards and Dobbins are like
dude, come on. There's no comparison.
The contract's out the window.
There's no comparison of who's more likely to have a better role in week 1 between Ty Chandler and Gus Edwards.
Who gives a shit about week 1?
We do, because we've already taken 2 upside players, and we may need someone to start for like 3 or 4 weeks.
In week 1.
Okay, dude.
Maybe not week 2 or week 3.
I'm telling you, like, it's fine. Who are we taking?
Who do you think will come back to us?
Let's take Ty Chandler. I'm not as crazy about Ty Chandler as you. I think he's fine. I think he's a handcuff running back. That's it.
What about Jaleel? Would you take him over Gus?
We've got 15 seconds. So
these guys are all in a tier for me. Take which one you want.
I took Ty Chandler. He was at the top of the queue.
There we go. Look, you're making Gus Edwards out to be like my favorite running back in the league.
No, I'm not making him out to be your favorite running back. I'm making him out to be a good fit for this team. I'm making him out to be a player that we could use for the first few weeks. And I'll tell you right now, I feel 1,000% more confidence if I got to start Gus Edwards and Ty Chandler in week 2.
Maybe in week 2, but we're drafting him as our RB4 at this point.
But we're trying to build a team that can win all year. Yeah. That means we need to win early and we need to win late. This is not best ball. We don't just get to be lucky and, we didn't have to pick which, starter went down in a game and then Ty Chandler went off. We actually have to base our starting lineup decisions on who we think is going to have, a bigger workload. And I think right now that's clearly Gus Edwards in week 1. I'm good with Ty Chandler. I don't want to sound like I'm Ty Chandler. I think is a great handcuff pick. Like the other player that was in my mind just went. Like Ray Davis is the guy. I think Ray Davis has a better chance to have a larger role than we think week 1 than Ty Chandler probably. And there goes Algier as well.
I treat Ray and Ty Chandler very similarly. So down for that. I'm less confident in Gus Edwards having this big time leading the backfield. I think it could easily be 1A, 1B, even 1C with how Vidal is potentially looking. Chargers still stand out as one of the prime situations that could be altered between now and week 1 going on. Look, man, like the contract numbers, I've preached about them. I get it. But at the end of the day, everything we've heard out of there is that, yes, Dobbins is maybe not back to 100%, but at least looking okay enough. Yeah. So for me, Gus Edwards, not someone where if you said over under 15 touches in week 1, man, I'm probably betting under.
Yeah, we'll just disagree on this one.
Fair enough.
We know it's a team that's going to run the ball all the time. He's one of the top 2 guys. And I have Gus Edwards ranked way below consensus, and he's still like where he was at in that tier.
We're getting him or Jaleel.
Regardless. Freaking Jalen Wright went. I wanted that so bad.
Jalen. RB3.
Yeah, well, you just start arguing about upside. He has more upside than any of these dudes. Like, if that guy gets on the field, he's going to freaking blow up.
Let's take Gus Edwards then, man. What's the difference now? We just got him to come back to us.
I think
now you don't want Gus?
No, I think no. We've already made our bed.
Oh my god! What do you mean? Ty Chandler's a great handcuff running back. We would have picked Ty Chandler if he came back to us. Now, why would we not take Gus?
All right, dude. It's fine.
Don't all right, dude. Me. Who do you want to take?
No, I took Gus.
We won double tap. We got Ty and Gus.
No, I'm pissed because not because of Ty Chandler, because I really wanted Jalen Wright.
Well, you could have brought that up before. You never.
No, well, I didn't think he was going where he's at in the queue.
Okay,
so it's fine.
It wouldn't have. He was in the scenario. Okay, fair enough.
We weren't worried about it. So he just went higher.
We had to double tap running backs. We argued for 5 minutes about when to take Gus Edwards. We got him later anyway. And Ty Chandler, even if you prefer Jalen Algier or Ray Davis, I think we can agree he's in the same tier. He certainly is on this handy-dandy sheet we got down here. So, I don't know, man. RB4 and RB5, we can start Gus Edwards now. And we got a guy that's potentially going to be a pretty heavily used 1B.
I want Bucky Irving so bad. I want him to come back. Or Marshawn Lloyd, either one. Braylon Allen would be okay too. Tyrone Tracy would be okay.
All right, guys, quick recap of the squad as we get into the midway point here of round 12. Our starting quarterback is number 2 overall pick, Jaden Daniels. RB1, James Conner, who we happen to get in round 5 as part of this lovely 0 RB build. RB2 for now is Chase Brown. Bengals RB1, RB2, RB3, who can say for sure, cleaning out the running back room in 3 of our last 4 picks. Blake Corum, Ty Chandler, and yes, as you can probably guess by now, Gus the Bus Edwards. Loaded wide receiver room, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice, and Roma Dunze. And again, we did get elite at tight end with Kyle Pitts coming off the board in round 6. So, Dwayne, I understand we can talk about what RB4, RB5 we would have preferred here, but I feel like we got a pretty good start here.
No, it's good. They're in the tiers. I mean, I'm fine with what happened. I really wanted Jalen Wright. I wanted just the high case ceiling scenario. Like if something does happen, like in that situation, like it's we just know it's a gold mine.
You're that blown away with Jalen Wright, the talent. I mean, how do you rate out in the supermodel?
Yeah, I'm not blown away with him like in this offense for sure.
I hear you, but like, are we absolutely positive like Jeff Wilson isn't just going to beat him out?
I don't worry about things like Jeff Wilson. I just I want to take the dude that's fast that fits like the scheme that they're running.
I know. I'm saying Jeff Wilson got a little history there. If that was the case, Devin Achane would have started ahead of Raheem Mostert. So,
yeah, I get it. I just watched Jalen Wright in that game and I saw enough. I didn't need to really see anything else. Like, I'm like, okay, that looks like exactly what McDaniel wants on his team.
I hear you, but we do got to remember sometimes usage rules all. And, Deuce Vaughn looked pretty good last preseason as well. So we'll see how things go. I mean, let's see. Jeff Wilson getting hyped up at the end of the game as I looked up his highlights over here. So, again, not completely out on Jalen Wright, but this is a guy who's one injury away from having, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 combined carries and targets. And maybe he makes a lot out of them, but I don't think he's going to be getting to run into those, same sort of 3 or 4 man boxes that he had every single day at Tennessee.
Yeah, I get everything you're saying. I'm looking at the profile of the player on the offense, knowing that if it does go your way, you're going to feel fucking fantastic about it. Like
I'm trying to cheer you up because I don't know if
we're
about Jalen Wright, and now I feel like you're about to cry.
I'm not about to cry. I really wanted him, so it's fine.
I understand that now. So a little bit of wonkiness going on at the end of round 12. Brandon Aubrey, yes, a kicker going in at round 12. A very good one at that, made that 66-yard field goal during the preseason game. So that was freaking wild. Obviously, Cowboys stand up, but Pat Freiermuth going to a team that already had Brock Bowers. Dwayne, Freiermuth is someone that I was making a habit of drafting a decent amount. Now, I do think, guys like him and Goddard, it is one of those situations where if you are going, later tight end, you see them pop up. Maybe we do talk ourselves into them a bit more than we might otherwise do, but pretty damn concerning, preseason uses for Pat Freiermuth. I did not think Arthur Smith was going to be so willing to put guys like, Michael Pruitt and Darnell Washington out there rotating with Freiermuth, but so far, man, looks like he's doing it again.
Yeah. I don't really want anything to do with Freiermuth. I just think you need to have your tight end by the time the top 12 are gone this year. In fact, I would rather have Dalton Schultz than Freiermuth. I think I might rather have Hunter Henry than Pat Freiermuth.
Henry, maybe if Drake May can make it work, then I guess Henry's there. But I just think, man, you look at, they brought in Austin Hooper, and I just think, who's their freaking offensive coordinator? Again, he just has that familiarity with Hooper and looking at some of those Browns offenses. I mean, they paid David Njoku, and it just didn't matter. They still had Harrison Bryant and Austin Hooper splitting it up. Why can't I remember his name? Alex Van Pelt, excuse me. But just, some of these offenses, I do think Henry's going to lead the way, but would you be that shocked if it's 60-40 in route rate between Henry and Hooper in week 1? I really wouldn't.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't. I just feel like he could be the best player on the team as far as the passing game goes. And I like the quarterback situation better than Russell Wilson. So
not the highest, bar to be clearing there for sure. Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, we got a ton of teams taking 2 quarterbacks now. So yes, everybody, if you do not have your one by round 10 or so, it is going to be getting rough out there. Dwayne, sounds like you want.
I think it's Irving or Polk. But I think we take Irving. Gabriel Davis just went. I think we have to take the other running back.
This is a team where I think Bucky could be the one forcing his way into his starting lineup. Well, even if Polk freaking balls out and is everything we hope he can be, he could still, be our wide receiver 5 on this current team we have. So, I noticed you didn't wait for me to finish talking, which is fair. I wanted Bucky Irving as well.
Oh, I thought I heard you say Bucky Irving.
No, you're good. I pretty much did. So we are fine with that. So really encouraging usage. Now, Chase Edmonds has been out. It's a bit of a wild card situation. I know you pointed it out in the utilization report, but for me, Dwayne, when I look at Chase Edmonds, I mean, we kind of saw it last year. Like, I don't think he's kind of your traditional handcuff. I think he's almost like in that Amir Abdullah role with the Raiders where, he's going to take a couple obvious pass down snaps, and that's annoying. But to me, I'm just happy to see that the Buccaneers are treating Bucky Irving like a normal every down running back out there.
Yeah. And he just looks good, man. Like just watching him in the preseason, like they talk about how they want to have someone that'll come in here, and slash and just get north and south. Go watch the film. That's exactly what that dude is doing. I mean, it's just like, I feel like he's custom made for what they want. And there's a little bit of, I don't want to say the writing's on the wall, but there's a little bit of they're not crazy about the way that, Rachaad White runs. Like, I mean, they've said, hey, they basically have a checklist of things they want Rachaad White to improve on. Now, that's not to say that he won't. Like, he might very well check all those boxes and be just fine. And this, pick doesn't really matter. But I think there's a chance that Bucky Irving is good enough, and they have enough issues with Rachaad White that the injury's not the only path, in my opinion, to Bucky Irving becoming relevant this year, which is what you want, like with your picks.
Look, Rachaad White was effective enough for them last season, but I mean, look, he went 91st overall back in 2022. What was Bucky Irving? Low 100s out here. So it's not like, again, Rachaad White, 125th overall for Bucky. So 3rd round versus 4th round. I get it. I'm not saying Bucky's about to come over here and just yank away Rashaad's spot, but Rashaad's been really bad efficiency wise, but so is everyone else in that offense. But everyone else in that offense has also been like Leonard Fournette, Sean Tucker, and, the ghost of Chase Edmonds. So wouldn't it be the most shocking thing of Bucky Irving, who, hey man, Eric Froton, a guy I really do respect in the college football industry, good dude, fun dude, good person, better karaoke voice and everything. Yeah, Bucky has his RB1 going out, and I know that was a sentiment that other people did share as well. So back to us, Dwayne. Looks like we're going to have our cake and eat it too. Jalen Polk?
Well, we can do Polk, or we can take your guy Antonio Gibson.
I think Polk is the bigger. Like, Gibson's just another handcuff. To me, Polk is someone that could start making some noise. What do you think? Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go Polk.
I mean, I like them both. Like, you can never have too many running backs on the build we have. We started Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice. James Conner's the running back 1. We grabbed the tight end with Kyle Pitts. We get Rome Odunze as our wide receiver 5. And then we just proceeded to take all these running backs and our quarterback, Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Ty Chandler, Gus Edwards, Bucky Irving. And then we had Jaden Daniels sandwiched in there in round 10. Jalen Polk, now our wide receiver 6.
First one we drafted since Rome Odunze in round 7, which goes back to kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of the draft. Again, when you get these heavy wide receivers, you do need to balance your roster construction as you're going. I know, Dwayne, that was one of really, what were your 3 tentpole points for pretty much any fantasy draft?
Yeah, I mean, you need to understand your format, your scoring rules, but mainly how many starters do you have? Do you have 3 wide receivers? Do you have 3 wide receivers and a flex? Do you have 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, like what we're doing right here? The more wide receivers that you could start in your lineups, the more you've got to think about pushing up, or the more flex plays, the more you've got to think about running backs and wide receivers and how much you prioritize them. You're going to need more of them on your team. But if you're in a league that's just 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs and 1 flex, well, then you might take a running back a little bit earlier. So basically, you got to understand like what the format is on your team. Then you want to understand where the value is, which is what we talked about early in this. We came in and looked, okay, what positions do we think are going to be the value? We said it probably is going to be receiver, and that running backs were going to go early, but still, like, the receivers, the way they fell to us this draft, like we still just took them early. But the point being, like, you kind of build backwards of, okay, where do you think like the pockets of value are where you can get things later, where you don't have to take it right now. You can find something similar, in the later rounds. And then, like, once you know that, like your only rule of thumb is the more draft capital you spend early on a position, the less you spend late. So we spent the 4 picks on the 4 wide receivers early, plus we come back and get Odunze in round 7. So we haven't taken another wide receiver until we get to Polk because we had to address running back where we only had James Conner. So we had to take 5 other guys.
Taysom Hill now off the board in round 14. Dwayne, I know it depends on, where people are drafting, if he's listed as a quarterback or as a tight end, but what do you think about Taysom Hill after Pat Freiermuth and Dalton Schultz kind of as that tight end 15?
In a league that lets you, yes. And that's just how bad the tight ends are.
That's the drop-off point. After Schultz, it gets rough.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So I think in that kind of, if you can start him at a tight end position, it's this year, I feel really good about him probably in the top 15.
The one wide receiver I would not mind being able to get here this late would be Josh Downs. Seems like an injury discount off the scooter. Don't love that he suffered the high ankle sprain, but
I agree.
I love the cope that we have going on with these guys where it's like, well, if he was going to suffer the injury, at least it happened now. Like, yeah, I guess, would have been a lot cooler if it happened never. But if you want to, put the timeline sort of situation on me, okay, enough. So Downs is interesting to me. McMillan, if we can't get him, is interesting to me.
Yeah. Kendre Miller is interesting to me. I don't know if you just said him. Audric Estime is interesting to me.
Well, Bigsby.
I like Bigsby a lot.
Yeah.
I don't like Dameon Pierce, really. I think Cam Akers is probably taking his job.
The usage is fine, but at some point, can you just get a gain over 3 yards, Dameon Pierce?
Yeah, I think he's probably in trouble. I went back and watched all the carries by both of them today, and it was just because I was writing up the strategy article, and Dameon Pierce looks terrible. Now, some of it was bad blocking in certain instances, but there's also just a lot of him not looking good.
Right. He's not going out there and, breaking a zillion tackles like he was able to do for stretches of that rookie season. So unfortunate for sure. But the other thing, Dwayne, like we saw it last year when he was given that starting job, it's not like he had Devin Singletary's role that Singletary had down the stretch, which was a true every down. I mean, Singletary obviously was getting some backup snaps, but they trusted Dario Gumbawale on pass downs ahead of what Dameon Pierce was doing. So even if something does happen to Mixon, I don't know that Pierce necessarily steps in as even the top 20 running back. We could be looking at, 13 or 14 kind of empty carries with minimal pass down work. So, and that's if he even freaking makes the final roster at this point. So again, I wouldn't mind Downs here, but I'm looking more at Bigsby, man. And again, it was pretty messed up when we were drafting him last year where we were. We don't need to, relight those demons, but another positive training camp. And if something does happen to Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby is the one stepping up.
I agree. I like Bigsby here. I will say Josh Downs is the last guy in the tier, and Bigsby.
That's what I'm between.
I think Bigsby. We've got some other guys in this tier with him, but sitting here looking at it, I don't feel as confident in some of them. I still like Audric Estime. I think he's the handcuff to Jamal, not Jamal Williams, to Javonte Williams.
Yes.
Yeah. Kendre, is the other one, is he just not going to make the team or something? He had a hamstring injury. He's not dead.
I don't know, man. The way Dennis Allen talks sometimes,
but he just is negative about everyone.
I know.
I think if Josh Downs gets to us, we go ahead and take him. I think we're getting...
Dwayne, here's the thing. I understand the injury isn't ideal, but imagine asking ourselves this question 3 weeks ago. Josh Downs.
Josh Downs wouldn't be here.
I'd start yelling. I'd be like, Dwayne, are you drunk on the job right now? That would be my reaction if you were asking me that. So I feel like we go Downs.
Yeah, I agree then. So we'll see if he gets here. And then we're done at receiver. We've got to take a kicker and a defense. So we've got 6 picks left. There goes Jamal Williams.
I actually, again,
they're going to make us be like, oh, let's just take Tank Bigsby.
Well, if Josh Downs goes off the board here, it is going to be Tank Bigsby season. So, hey, we get 1 of the 2. I'm okay with that. So, again, holding out on the defenses and kickers. If you do hold out on them, I understand. We're not going to get the Cowboys, Ravens, Jets. Those are the 3 off the board right now. The Raiders, though, I do believe everyone are the team that you should be focusing on that generally does not have a top 10 ADP. I do think they can get you through pretty much the first 6 weeks of the season. So, plenty of time to still get into that at the end. Dwain usually gets up, refills his drink, and lets me, take the floor there. But Ricky Parasol off the board. Josh Downs, come on down, Dwain.
Got him. All right. Let's see if Bigsby comes back to us. If not, I've got Estime and Kendre Miller in the queue. Who do you like more of those two?
I feel better about Estime being on NFL roster, which is kind of wild.
I know. Yeah, I think I'm with you.
And look, I like
Justice Hill.
I like Kendre's profile and the fact he got 3rd-round capital, but I will say, man, like I watched his, every touch he had from last year. It wasn't like the dude was just out there blowing guys away.
He was also injured, like pretty much, like even when he came back last year.
He was.
He had a little. He was kind of like. That's the thing that sucks about him. He's just been battling injuries. Like, is it ever going to stop? I don't know.
Again and again and again. Meanwhile, we're worried about Tajay Spears not having an ACL, and that dude's just turning into a freaking Iron Man. So, knocking on wood. Don't want to, jinx Tajay. We all love Tajay Spears, but again, funny how those, pre-draft statements about one guy being injury prone and one guy not tend to work out. So, Jalen Tolbert, Cowboys wide receiver 3, going off the board. That really is great value on Josh Downs, man. I'm pretty proud of that pick. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too. We're gonna have to add Taysom Hill to this list because we're so used to him being a quarterback in all the leagues we draft in.
Guys, the internal FantasyLife rankings conversations we've had about Taysom Hill have just been so many of them. It always pisses me off that because again, like if you want to rank him as a tight end, he's still only the tight end 15, but he's just constantly breaking our ranking sets. Other sites have him as quarterback. Like it just pisses me off that. Man, like I had someone on Twitter like, why do people hate Taysom Hill so much? Like, this is why. It's because fantasy providers name him as tight end when he doesn't play that freaking position. But because of this weird loophole that we're making for a guy who, respectfully, is a 34-year-old dude who isn't good enough to full-time start at any other position. I mean, I would love if Taysom Hill was a quarterback and we're just never playing him in fantasy and then we could just appreciate him. We'd yell at him about the vulture stuff, but once you have to actually get into the situation of, again, where to actually put him here and depending on the site, as you can tell, it gets a little bit frustrating. But
this guy on the turn, man, takes the full 90 for every pick.
Yeah, that's annoying. It is 90-second clocks. Come on, get those down. I just realized that now in round 16. Oh, Dwain, we were doing the Kings Classic, and we went around the room, and it showed your average pick time when we were done, and I was under 3 minutes with like a 18-round draft or something like that. And there were dudes that picked 13, 14 minutes out there. So I'm team make the draft pick, put the pressure on the next guy, and go from there.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Sadly missed out on Bigsby, but Audrey
Estime.
Yep.
All right.
That's fine. I'll say this. Bigsby is 100% handcuff. Like Estime, I look, I think it's going to be Javonte, Jaleel, Estime in that order, but it's been constant. I mean, I was writing up, again, mentioned the ADP risers, and Javonte was one of the risers, and it forced me to kind of go back to looking at what people were saying, even this time last month, basically. And even at that time, before training camp started, which has been a good experience for Estime by most reports, he was considered pretty much a roster lock. So I know day 3 running backs, but they do hit sometimes, Dwain. And I just think, we could maybe do a better job of exploring this. I don't know if we'll have time this offseason, but next offseason. But I do wonder because as much as day 3 running backs aren't going to hit and give us these top 12, top 24 finishes across the entire season, there are a lot of instances of them giving us some spike weeks. So I wonder if we do look at it more like granularly where it's not as much the full season finishes, but it's like what positions are able to give you almost more weekly high-end finishes. Because, man, again, without having numbers in front of me, day 3 running backs got to have a higher hit rate than wide receivers at that.
Yeah, and I mean, we know they're going to have that. Like, we don't even we can still do the research. We know they're going to have it because you don't have to be like, if you get on the field as a wide receiver, just because you get out there doesn't mean you're going to score fantasy points, because you have to be talented enough to get open first, right? Then you might have to make a contested catch. There's so many things you have to do before you can actually score a fantasy point. Whereas if you get out there and you're the running back for whatever reason, injury to a teammate, whatever the case may be, you get the ball and 9 other people are doing a job to make your job easier. They're all blocking. You don't have to go earn a target. They just have to turn around and hand you the ball.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to find like that the running backs, I would say running backs probably have more predictable spike weeks. My guess is like the wide receivers might be closer than we think, But the running backs, we're going to know when we
True.
would want to plug them into our lineup because it's going to be when the other starter on the team is hurt, and we're going to feel good about it. Versus receiver, like you just don't know when. Even if the starter's hurt, you're still not going to know that you could play the dude.
You'll have those wide receiver 3 has 2 catches, 1 goes for a 70-yard touchdown, but nobody, of course, was feeling good about starting him from the first place. So it'd almost be like we want to measure who is like ranked inside the top 24 for like the most weeks, not even like what they finished necessarily, like who process wise was actually, getting the benefit of the doubt for a good reason. But regardless of all that, Dwayne, we have 4 more picks left. Again, probably got to take a defense and special teams. And honestly, as much as we say, like, don't do it if you don't have to, like looking at some of these other options, I mean, we're really stretching to say that many more of these running backs even are, a couple injuries away from being overly fantasy relevant. So if we can get the DS tier kicker we want, I do think that's fine. I would say, like, would you agree, Dwayne, that advice is more so for, leagues that are only drafting 14 or 15 rounds?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so in a league like this, the mistake you don't want to make is taking your kicker in round 11, 12, 13, 14. Once you get past 15, there's somebody you feel great about. I mean, it's fine. I still am mostly trying to take stabs at players that I think, could give me something. So yeah, I mean, but yes, you can take one before the last 2 rounds if you want.
2 more picks. There are a couple wide receivers, Dwayne. Rashad Bateman, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen McMillan. They're starters. They might not suck at football.
I like Jermaine Burton, like on this team, because it's like we know he's not the starter week 1, but what if like he's just sitting on our bench and by week 3 he is the starter for the Bengals? Like I feel good about that. I like the upside plays, I think, more on the roster build that we have than the dudes that were like, oh yeah, they're the starters. I mean, Wan'Dale, is he really available? I don't think I just think I just missed marking him off. He just went at the turn.
Oh, okay.
Both guys you named just went.
Did you see I forget what podcast it was on, but CeeDee Lamb, I believe, was getting interviewed about like his top 5 wide receivers, and he goes through the top 5, and then he's like, yeah, and I also got another guy who I just wanted to shout out as like an honorable mention, and it was Wan'Dale Robinson coming out of nowhere, and I was like, wait, like what is this connection right here? But CeeDee was shouting out, how crispy he is, and credit to you, Dwayne. I know, a couple months ago you kind of brought up Wan'Dale as a pretty good end of the draft stab, and based on what we've seen out of New York, yes, it's going to be the Malik Neighbors show. I highly doubt Daniel Jones is going to enable more than one, consistent other wide receiver. But we have seen in the past Wan'Dale have, some higher end target earning abilities. And just based on what we've seen, it does look like Slayton and Hyatt are going to be more so rotating on the outside. Wan'Dale and Neighbors do seem like the clear cut starting 2 at this point in time. So round 17, again, still got McMillan or Burton. I mean, I know we said we're done at wide receiver, Dwayne, but are there any other running backs that you're at all?
Yeah, I think like I like Roshan. I don't mind taking Cam Akers with the last pick. Roshan has been held out of the last 2 games. So like we really don't know for sure what the pecking order is after DeAndre Swift in Chicago. It's probably like a 3-way split, but I still like Roshan. So I think he's definitely worth a click like this late, given how many running backs are already gone, off the board. I haven't heard anything about Trey Sermon, but there was a point where he was clearly the backup, to Jonathan Taylor. Then he had the hamstring pull. So I've got all those guys in the queue. I'm open. I did put Carson Still even in the queue. I know that like people say he's a fullback. He was a running back last year for UCLA. Like in the year and like before the year before that, like before he transferred to UCLA, like he had a ton of rushing yards.
He had some nice preseason runs too.
This is the kind of league where you got to take these guys. It's 20 rounds, and we didn't take running back, so they're also easy cuts. Come week 1, whenever we know we're gonna probably have like somebody we want to work or pick up off the waiver wire. I will say Deshaun Watson just sitting there, like knowing the profile, like
now you're
at least we know he's had the upside.
And that could, like, of all the guys here, Deshaun's the one that we could actually potentially wrap our minds around, like starting over Jaden Daniels. He's the one guy that has the archetype that could do it. Or Fields. What if he wins the job?
Yeah, he's probably not winning the job, but if he did, I agree with you.
But bro, like I don't think Russ's leash is especially long either way. I'm not starting him anyway. We don't have to do it this pick. Is there a running back?
I think we take Roschon Johnson here.
I like that.
And then, all right, let's take Roschon.
It has been a weird situation with him. He goes from splitting with Herbert to, again, just out these last 2 weeks. Do we even have confirmation on like an injury?
I couldn't find anything on why he was out. Now, don't be wrong. I didn't search for 30 minutes. When I'm writing the utilization report, I search for like 2 minutes max. And if I don't find some, and a lot of this stuff, there's just no reporting on. So there goes Storch. Sorry.
No. Why? Yeah.
So we've got one pick besides kicker and defense.
Bro, I think it's Justin Fields. Or Watson.
I think it's Watson just because, like, we know he's the starter.
Yeah. I'm not used to having Watson.
I don't think Fields is starting week 1. Like, I would say it's 99.99%. It's Russ Wilson week 1.
I'd say it's
so whoever picks him up is going to drop him.
Regardless. Yeah.
Is Burton still here? Like, that's the one receiver that I'm like, man, I know the talent's there. I don't know if yeah, he's still here. But we have one thing we can do here because we have to take kicker and defense after that.
I don't think Yoshi is bad, and I think there's enough respect for him and even arguably Irwin. Look, the word out of the Bengals beat has been that they're going to keep rotating at the spot. Could Burton theoretically win it out? Yeah, and you know what? It is round 18, so I'm not completely against that. But, you know, let's say he does. Let's say he turns in this wide receiver 4 season. He still might not be there. I do think Watson or Fields are a legit, you know, in their best case scenario, they become our starting quarterback. And there goes Burton anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree. When I get this late though, I don't worry too much about, could they win that, job like on a wide receiver or a running back? Like, it's just, okay, like who has the most upside if it did go their way? Yeah. And it's kind of like your argument with Fields. I just feel like there's a much better chance of Burton ending up as a starter, like earlier than we think than Fields. I mean, I could be wrong.
And this Steelers offense, dude, their O-line's not even looking good right now. They could just be.
Well, there goes Justin Fields.
Hey, there we go.
So if he's here, we'll just take Deshaun Watson, unless there is a kicker or a defense that you think you need to take here.
I like that Jonnu pick in round 18.
All right.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Let's do it.
All right, cool.
I get it. His shoulder is sore, but as bad as last year was, guys, he still ripped off, 3 top 10 finishes in his 5 full games. So
what is wrong with his damn shoulder, man?
It's just sore.
I know, but that's
just a little sore.
That was the thing last year. It was sore.
My shoulder's sore from throwing a baseball with my buddy this weekend, man. I'm not complaining about it. Aaron Rodgers shortly after.
There went Will Shipley. Like, that's a name we could have talked about.
My thing is with Shipley, I mean, we have 3 years of evidence that running backs not being paid $36 million in Philly top out as like these borderline RB2s. Like, are you confident in Shipley just dominating the backfield ahead of Gainwell, who they had as their week 1 starter last year?
No, I'm not. But I mean, it's just we're just late in the draft. Like, you're just throwing darts, and he had a good profile coming out of college. We know he has the dual threat ability. Like, essentially, like when they recruited him, they hoped that he was going to be the next Christian McCaffrey. Like, that didn't like end up panning out. But he's like Christian McCaffrey light. Like triple light. He has the similar skill sets. People probably read too much into it, like because he's a white dude. But
okay, so
he can do all the things. So like he can unlock upside in a way that not all backs that you're getting in this range can do.
So again, I like the Raiders, but the Raiders was a defense that I had under the pretense that, okay, I think they'll be available this late. I mean, the Chiefs are an elite defense, I feel like. We just saw that last year. Only group in the league not allow 30 points in a game.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like an easy cheat code for defenses is just taking ones that are,
really
on teams that are going to win a lot of games. I mean, they play when you get to play from ahead and you take away the other team's opportunity to be balanced and you can turn the other offense into being predictable. That's a good thing. The other team I've wondered at was the Texans, just because like they added Danielle Hunter. You got
Carlton Davis.
Right? Add Carlton Davis. Like, you've got Will Anderson going into year 2. We've got a defensive minded head coach. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think they're going to lead in a lot of games as well. So,
you know who looks amazing, Dwayne? Like dark horse. I don't want to say dark horse defensive MVP because I think the pass rushers usually get it, but I know Neighbors beat Stingley on that one rep, man, but Stingley looked good out there. And he is someone where last year down the stretch, man, he was really starting to ascend. So, I mean, that Texans defense has got a lot of blue chip guys out there. And hey, again, it's a really good team potentially. So, Cowboys gone, Ravens, Browns, Jets gone, 49ers got to be gone.
Dude, the freaking Eagles as well, loaded with pass rushers, improved their defense.
Yeah.
They're going to be winning. Man, the Eagles, Dolphins, Chiefs, Texans, Eagles. I like all those teams. The Dolphins, I would put at the bottom of the list. Because they're so hurt to start the year, right? I mean, they're not going to have Chubb to start the year. Jalen Phillips did come back like off the pup, or he's at least out there. I don't know how effective he can be week 1.
They lost some guy free agency. I'm with
Chiefs, Eagles, Texans. Like
one of those 3.
Yeah.
100%.
And then I think the Raiders are the backup plan.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, and that's good to see that.
What's the schedule look like for those 3?
God, we actually did
tie break it.
We actually did have someone double tap defenses. That is freaking ridiculous. Okay. So, okay, who are we? Raiders schedule.
Yeah, we talked Chiefs, Eagles, Texans. We already know the Raiders the schedule because you've done that.
All right, Chiefs, Texans. Sorry, Chiefs, Texans, and Dolphins were the 3.
Yeah.
No, Eagles. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry, Eagles. Yeah. We have the Dolphins on there too, but we X'd them out because we don't think they're healthy.
Eagles have Packers, Falcons, Saints, Bucks, Browns, Giants. That's pretty fucking hot if we can get by those first couple weeks. Texans have the Colts, nice. Bears, nice. Vikings, nice. Jaguars, okay. Texans are pretty sweet through 4 weeks. Chiefs are going to be Ravens. Lamar takes a lot of sacks. Bengals, Falcons, Chargers. I don't love that. I say Texans.
I think the Texans are the best to start the season, but I also know that I'm more confident that the Chiefs are winning 11 games and playing from ahead. So I can go with any of these. I think the Texans get a slight edge over the Eagles.
Good. And just everyone out there listening, like these are the defenses you can still get in round 19. This is why you don't need to freaking take the Ravens in round 13, like some of these squads, happen to be doing, because there are still some good players at that point. So you see you guys round 17, round 18. I'm not going to fly over to your state to fight you or anything, but I do think, again, really good options in round 19. Can't be hating on that. So, and again, it's not that bad of a start. I mean, you can call it Burrowhead if you want, but it is in KC early. And after that, man, pretty good. Steelers in week 17, Dwayne, for the Chiefs. Oh, baby.
We'll probably be dropping and picking up defenses, but
if we have the Chiefs, though,
if we don't have to, I prefer it because it's an ass whip.
Dude, and we're getting 6 games against the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers, who I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I could see them being anti-turnover, hardball, ball control and everything. But I mean, man, fine. 4 games against the Broncos.
So Chiefs here. Raiders. You want Chiefs here, and then we'll come back for our kicker?
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
All
right. So kicker, I've got Jake Moody, Tyler Bass, Greg Zuerlein with the Jets. I like their defense and their offense. Cameron Dicker
the kicker. I mean, that's just a fun time. Let's face it. We're not taking Tyler Bass, that fraud.
I'm good with what's wrong with him.
I don't know. He just ended the Bills season last year. That wasn't that cool.
Oh, yeah.
That small thing.
Freaking Cairo Santos probably isn't going to be terrible in such an improved offense. Any of these teams, let's think, are they going for it on 4th down?
I mean, at this point, just give me the better weather in San Fran versus Chicago or New York, though.
Yeah, for early season, though, I mean, we don't worry too much. We'll just
true.
Drop. But yes, I agree. All things equal, let's just take Moody. And then, I mean, we could do Dicker second. He obviously plays in great weather. And then Zuerlein, or then Bass, and then Zuerlein.
If I cared enough,
I'm like, man, it's the Bills' offense. Are we that down on it? We really think they're going to be that terrible?
They are pretty aggressive. I feel like when they need 1 yard, they just kind of put Josh Allen out there. It's kind of like the Eagles.
But Tyler Bass is the year before last, he was one of the top kickers. So I don't know.
See, I couldn't have told you that. I do wonder if again, I've not taken the time to do much kicker research over the years, but do you really want, like, I wonder if the kickers on the league's 6 through 12 offenses are actually better than 1 through 5 because they have to settle more for field goals.
Yeah, you want the best offenses, but you want them to struggle a little bit once they get to the red zone.
The bad red zone offenses. There goes Tyler Bass anyway.
Yeah. That's kind of why I was like, I like Greg Zierlein. I could see Dicker. I could see the Chargers. And we know that Harbaugh is willing just to try to win close games. I kind of feel like Dicker might be the dude here.
I mean, I'm not going to.
But I'm good with Moody. He's sitting there. Which one do you want?
Let's look at our Fantasy Life rankings and see what the experts have to say, because Lord knows Dwain and I did not rank these kickers. Yeah, Jake Moody, Freeman's 4th, Waz is 7th. Where's Dicker's at? So it's Freeman versus Waz. Who do you trust more at kickers? Freeman, strangely, I'm not shooting down Waz, but I know for a fact Freeman actually does.
He really studies them.
He's gone 4th, and he's got Aubrey, Tucker.
Who's he got 4th?
Aubrey, Tucker, Bucker, and then Moody.
All right, so he's got
we're getting
Moody.
We're getting the kicker 4 in round 20, Dwain. How about that?
Look at that.
Look at that.
We don't even have a tier up.
Don't even have a tier. All right. An hour and 44 minutes later, the squad is complete. Good job by you, Dwain. To quickly recap everything, again, went out early with a 0 RB build, not because we necessarily planned on it, but just the way the draft fell. Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, and Rashee Rice out of the 9 spot. After that, we did get our, little bit of a hero RB later in James Conner in round 5. Elite tight end in Kyle Pitts. Tight end 8 overall. Felt good in round 6. Roma Dunze in round 7. Then did not draft another wide receiver until round, 14. Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Jaden Daniels to get our quarterback, Ty Chandler, Gus Edwards, and Bucky Irving after that. So again, was able to solidify our running back room with honestly a bunch of guys that, yes, I do trust their handcuff upside, but lesser extents for sure. But Corum, Chandler, and Bucky even might surprise us with how much they're being used. But again, more so handcuff picks, and that's fine because we have Chase Brown and Gus Edwards likely early season fighting over that RB2 job. Jalen Polk, Josh Downs rounding out the wide receiver room. Really like those values. Audric Estimate and Roshan Johnson as our late round running backs who could maybe, how many times can I say maybe, give us something. And then Deshaun Watson in round 18 where, Deshaun Watson in round 18, surprised to see him there. Chiefs DST, kicker Jake Moody. Dwain, I'm feeling good. What say you? Knowing we did not get your, love interest Jalen Wright.
No, it's fine. Like we were still drafting from the tiers. Like structurally, I love the team. Yeah, there was one player I really wanted just because I wanted their upside, but I think we drafted the team, the right way. We took wide receivers early, so we didn't take as many later. We took a bunch of running backs in the middle. It's kind of a build people are used to seeing, when, we're not this is a 0 running back team.
Yes.
We're going to say we have a hero and his name is James Conner and we're depending on him to be our hero. We reached on James Conner versus the Q. But I felt like it was the right pick at the time to at least get, one guy to kind of anchor the room, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do like it. The wide receivers that we did come back and take are young ascending players. I really think that's the only type of wide receiver that you would take on a team when you start with Chase, Nacua, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice, and Roma Dunze coming back to him in round 7. Like you can't, some of these guys, are just not. Greg Dortch can't get in this lineup. You know what I mean? Tyler Boyd's not getting on the field. Rashad Bateman probably not getting on the field. So I like taking the younger guys that could potentially force our hand. And we're like, wow, like these guys are actually trying to challenge for a starting job. So I also like the fact that we did manage to get Pitts. And then that meant we weren't in a complete pinch. Like when it came back to Jaden Daniels, and that allowed us to really be patient when we didn't need both tight end and quarterback. It allowed us to be patient at quarterback, and we got Jaden Daniels in round 10, which I think was a really good call by us. We did think about letting Jaden Daniels go. I'm glad we did not because Caleb Williams was a double tap to the Lamar Jackson drafter. And once that happened, we were not
Caleb
getting,
was.
Yeah, Caleb Williams was. Yeah. So Jaden Daniels was not coming back to us if we didn't take him in round 10. And he is the centerpiece like the strategy this year at quarterback. So when you have a guy like that, I think sometimes it's just good to go ahead and grab him, and I'm glad we made that decision. Had we not, I think we would have liked our team less. We'd have still been fine. We would have figured it out. We probably ended up with Brock Purdy or something. Well, we might not have, because coming back in round 11, Tua went and Brock Purdy went. So at that point, you and I would have been like, whatever, we're waiting. We would have just waited. at quarterback. So yeah, I really do like the team. It was really interesting getting to draft over here and just kind of get a feel for how all these people do it. So looking forward to doing it again.
Any individual pick you really regret? Again, it would have been cool to get Jalen Wright, but yeah, I don't think there's one that really sticks out. Again, okay, running back we preferred fine, but we needed running backs there. We got them, and again, who's to say that Ty Chandler won't outscore Jalen Wright? I feel like we got our guys when we wanted them.
Yeah, no, we took the guys we needed in the tiers. Bucky Irving coming back in round 13 made me really happy.
Yeah.
So after we took Gus, 2 more running backs went with Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyrone Tracy, but then it kind of chilled. Everybody jumped over to those receivers. So what's interesting, like just looking at a couple of these other teams just real quick, we don't spend much time on them, but I will say like Eagles won, like I would not draft he picked from the one hole. I would not draft my team like this. Christian McCaffrey, Chris Olave, Isaiah Pacheco, Kenneth Walker Jr., Joe Mixon. So 4 running backs in the first 5 rounds. But I will say he made some smart picks later. He gets Xavier Worthy on this team, who has wide receiver 2 upside right out of the gate. He comes back and gets Dontavian Wicks in round 13, has wide receiver 2 upside if an injury happens. So for as much as I wasn't crazy about his start, I thought he made some pretty smart picks later in the draft as far as like the kind of wide receivers that he targeted. So I know we kind of bashed on him a little early, so I had to give him a hat tip later and saying that I liked the way that he ended up rounding out his wide receiver room. I still prefer the build we have because we're in a PPR league. Yeah. We know that PPR wide receivers are going to outscore these running backs. I'll say this: Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, and Rashee Rice are going to outscore Christian McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco, Kenneth Walker, and Joe Mixon, like over the course of the year. Like I'm almost certain of it. The odds are in our favor, but it could be closer than we think. Like if all those guys stay healthy for him.
True. All right, guys, this will not be our last draft stream. Again, Dwayne and I trying to knock out a handful of these and hopefully able to do so from some different draft positions. As we kind of talked about, maybe it would have been more ideal to have one of those top 3 picks and be able to really start strong with more of a, true hero RB, with all due respect to, our RB1, James Conner over there. But Dwayne, feeling good about it happening. And yeah, guess what? We'll be back tomorrow morning and then Friday as well with some more Fantasy Life shows, just breaking down some goodness. So anything else, Mr. McFarland, you want to get off your chest?
Running back strategy drops tomorrow morning. Tomorrow I'll be writing overall perfect draft plan. So perfect quarterback strategies out, wide receiver, tight end. Like I said, running back drops tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'm going to write one article that ties all those together and focuses a little bit like on your draft position. I'm not going to go deep into every one of those because Chris Allen's already done a fantastic job showing you guys how to draft from every single one of the positions. So that would be the other thing I would say to go check out. I know this is the biggest draft weekend coming up, so make sure that you check it all out. All that stuff's for free, guys. So, I mean, there's really no reason not to. Ian, obviously, you've got your strategy articles out as well. So I feel like we've got people. I feel really good that we've got people covered, and we're you and I and the rest of the team, we're updating rankings and projections pretty much every day. Like that's part of my process every morning. So we're trying to keep everything tight for everybody.
Best of luck to everyone in their drafts. And look, I hope you guys listen to every show because, we just appreciate it if you did. But especially this Friday, August 23rd, Dwayne and I are really trying to give you guys, again, the essential strategy to hopefully ace your home leagues draft. So keep a particular eye out for that one. So great day to be great. And yeah, other than that, I appreciate you guys tuning in. So for Dwayne, I'm Ian. Thanks again for tuning into the Fantasy Life Show. And until next time, take care, everybody.